Morning, it's me again. Just going to get straight into it as I always do. Just like to say a big thank you to everybody that's subscribing. Also, I'd like to say a massive thank you to people that have been leaving comments as well. So I'd just like to say, thank you. And I'm glad to see that there are like minded people out there that are free thinkers and just want best for themselves because as people, that's what we're really aiming for as a social, as a network. This is what I'm looking for, just for people to be themselves, true to themselves, and just also just have the great living and have a great experience of life that they deserve and what you should have by rights. But you've got to make these rights come through anyhow. As I said, I'll be here doing this on a daily basis, and I'll be fighting my cause for me as well as fighting it there for other people. So we've got this like-minded community of people coming together so that we're growing, so that other people can hear our noise, to know that you know what, there are people out there for you anyhow that will help you, that will help you achieve. But the thing is though, you've got to get your mindset right first anyhow, and it's all about mindset. Because if your mindset isn't right, somebody else will control your mind. So this is what I want to talk about this morning, and this is what I really want to get into so quickly. So you know what, let's go with it. So if we haven't got our own minds, people are always going to shape our minds for us, and they're going to shape it through the media. They're going to shape it through what we see on television, what's been said on television, what's been said on the radio, and what's been put in the papers. Also now, obviously, we've got it also on networks as well. But it's not anything that's really the good for you anyhow. Looking for goodness, they're trying to distract you with all sorts of noise and nonsense, really. Not to anything that's going to build you up and lift you up, just to keep you in a stupid sort of like daze in a coma, keeping you there basically like a zombie. And if you want to live like a zombie, you know what, that is still your choice. As I said, I'm not here to batter anybody. I'm not here to disparage or put anybody down, but I'm saying that is your choice. And then one day probably you'll wake up and say, you know what, I can't keep living like this, which we can't. This is why we can't have people controlling our minds. We have to control our own minds and have the best for us that we want and our families and our social community. Everybody around us should be living good. Simple. End of story. And there's no reason why this shouldn't happen. And the only reason why this is happen because there's certain people that just want you to be a slave for them all day long, from when you're born until the day that you die. So basically, you're just looking like a piece of meat and cattle, or you're just being raised out there in a little shed or a little farm in bad conditions. But they're trying to say that you're free range, but you ain't no free range because it ain't no freeness of thoughts or there ain't no freeness of mind. But they've got you there in a pen where you're cramped together and everyone's cramped together and you're trying to fight for space. And that space is the space of your mind, and they're controlling your mind. And these people that are controlling it, as I've said, it's the media. You're going to get it from the news. You're going to get it from the radio stations. You're going to get it from the papers, and also you're going to get it from social media. And it's always stupid things that they've got you there where you're hooked in for hours saying, oh, did you see this? Did you see that? As I said the other day about a cat stuck in a tree and drinking probably a cup of milk up there. It's not serving you any purpose at all. The purpose that you're supposed to be serving is a purpose of greatness, to get the best out of you, not to have you been dumbed down so that you're just a joke thing all the time. This shouldn't happen. How can this happen in this society? But what's happening is because you're letting it and allowing it to happen. Because what you've got to do, you've got to switch off from this nonsense and this noise. Because if you're going to be having this mindset, you're just going to end up like a parrot. And what the parrots do, parrots will mimic anything that's put out there for them. So whatever you hear on television, whatever you're on the radio, and it's there constant through social media, it is brainwashing. Because don't forget, these experiments have been going on way back when, even before the 60s. They've started implementing this so they have you in a basically zombie state where you're just in a daze and you're just going along to keep along, and other people are making decisions at the top for you. Don't you think that the government have been doing this for a long time? Don't you think that this is all part of a massive plan just to keep you earning enough so that you don't leave, and you're paying how much taxes you work overtime? You get taxed on that, and how are you supposed to make a living? How are you supposed to make a living when they're doing this to you all the time, but you don't think that they've got an agenda? Of course they've got an agenda. They've got an agenda to keep you working and as long and as hard as possible so that you haven't got time to think. So as soon as you get home, you're so tired, all you want to do is sleep. That's all you want is your bed. You get in, you ain't probably got no time to sit down and talk to the children. You haven't got no time to sit down and talk to your wife, your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever it is. The only time that you've got then is the weekend, and that's why they say you're living for the weekend. And then when you go out for the weekend, what you do, you just go out and get hammered because you're putting yourself in a stupor, because try and drink as much as possible because you can't do it in the week. Because you've got to get up and do the grind again. You've got to grind again. Why should you have it where you're making somebody else make the decisions how hard you have to work for somebody else to get somebody else rich? It doesn't make no sense whatsoever where you've got somebody controlling your mind. This is where the minds of men and women, they're battling for it instead of you battling for your own mind and your own sense. As I said, these human behaviour experiments have been going on from day dot, part of their propaganda, so that you will be enslaved to them to work from the day that you're born until the day that you die. Imagine how much tax that you have to pay from when you start working until the day